What's up, y'all? This is CJ Reed, Shawn, Coach Shawn, whatever it is that you call me. Here today, a little different. Usually I start off by saying, what's up? Shout out to the Pinewood Ports podcast family. But today is a little different for the podcast. I'm doing I guess we could call it a college recruiting discussion in regards to student athletes as a high school trying to take that next step. So during quarantine, we've all had some time to do a lot of things. So one thing that I did like a quarantine project, reaching out to a lot of college coaches, some that I already had connections with, some I wanted to build connection with, and some just random coaches on the Division I level, and even some on other levels, just to kind of gain some answers and some insight that I can give my players, people that I'm associated with. So for those that don't know, I am a high school basketball coach, AAU basketball coach, train kids, skills trainer, and then just especially work in sports and all aspects of operations, marketing, things like that. Just wanted to find and do something that I can give that are concrete answers, as a lot of questions that we get asked as coaches from parents, from our players, from other coaches, just in general. So I always want to, have insight on these are the things. So it's not like I'm just telling them whatever I want to tell them. The stuff that we actually have is, substantial and actually means something and holds weight, as it's the same thing that these coaches are actually saying. So I wanted to kind of do something that highlights that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, show y'all. There's about 10 questions. I'm going to go through most of them, some of them into more detail than others, and then just make sure you tune in, send this to anybody you know, whether you have younger siblings, whether you're a parent and you have kids that are playing, whether you're a player yourself, you're a coach, you're a recruiter, anything. So without further ado, the first question that we have was, in your opinion, what do players need to improve on most coming into college? So the top two answers was basketball IQ and defensive skills. And then when it comes to basketball IQ, I think a lot of that kind of can go back to kids nowadays just don't play as much basketball or watch as much basketball. When growing up, I know when I was growing up, we played anywhere we could, whether that was an open gym, sneaking into a gym, outside courts, parks, driveway, street, wherever it was, we would pull up and play. And then also, too, just watching basketball. I always suggest and talk to my players and people I know, watch college basketball. A lot of us get caught up in the NBA, but watch college basketball, especially women's basketball, but watch both, and you can see what it takes to be at the next level, what it entails, how it goes, and just the skills and the strategies and everything like that is best on that level. And attitude and work ethic was the second one, and defensive skills. Defensive skills. Because at the end of the day, if you don't play defense, you won't see the floor. And that's just the truth on every level. So definitely have to be able to guard people that are quicker, faster, stronger, more talented and everything at the next level. And some of those just aren't ready from the jump to be like that. And then attitude and work ethic, I think that can go into just on and off the court. You have to have the attitude and the work ethic to come in and be ready to learn, be coachable, be ready to understand that you're not maybe the star of the team no more. You might have to fit into a role. You have to earn everything. I know one of the coaches, I remember he said, you have to think like you're a freshman in high school again. And it's kind of like starting that process over. Shooting and conditioning, I think that goes with, you got shooting is at premium. If you shoot the ball, you can shoot the ball. And then conditioning and strength, I think a lot of that just comes from a lot of high schools don't have heavy strength programs or big workout areas and facilities and things like that. And then the second question, the biggest adjustment from being a high school student athlete to collegiate student athlete, we see here is the competitiveness, the level of play. And that's just, I think that's speaks for itself. When you go through different levels, it's going to be harder. It's going to keep getting harder. And a lot of times that's the biggest adjustment is the physicalness and the pace of play and the talent level. And then the time management. Being a student athlete, you have so much on your plate in so little time, it feels like. So you may have study hall, you may have class, you may have practice, weight room, then you have, study, film study, then you have travel, then you have game, then you might have a group project, then you got an exam. So time management is something big that coaches wanted to stress too as well. That goes for on and off the court. The next question is a question I get a lot. I think a lot of parents and players are kind of curious about this, and it's the most common way or that coach's preference of finding out about potential recruits. And we can see here that the relationships with high school and AAU coaches is clearly the number one answer. And that's why we stress a lot in regards to building connections and having good connections with your high school and AAU coach so that they can, when coaches hit us up, you're one of the ones that we think of first. You're one of the ones that we want to put our name to and help out and make sure that they can help get to the next level and do whatever we can to help you, because that's our goal too, is to help you become a better person, a better player, better student, better and everything. So, and then you look at, I think, the relationships, and even the second one, that when you come to highlight tapes, I think during the pandemic, this has been even a stronger thing. And it's probably more pushed just because they can't go to AU tournaments. They can't travel as much. They can't go, into people's homes. And it's just a lot of things just because of the era that we're in, that I think the relationships, they lean on more of those relationships with high school coaches and AU coaches, and they respect them and take their word, they put their name behind it. And then the highlight tapes, I think just because you can't go to games, you're looking at more highlight tapes on social media, on YouTube, and trying to search and find those players and everything. And a lot of this, even through this whole survey, and through this whole discussion, it's about the kids that aren't the 5-star recruits, aren't the ones that, okay, we know they're, going there, so these are the ones that are Division I talent, Division II talent, any talent, anybody that can go play at the next level. It's a lot that comes with it. When does the recruiting process typically start? So this is a question you get a lot from players and parents, just because a lot of them get stressed or nervous if their kid hasn't gotten a lot of attention yet, hasn't gotten a lot of notice. So they get kind of worried about, is it going to actually even ever happen? We see here overwhelmingly it starts and gains momentum in the 11th grade. And that's why I was told, and we passed that message along, is that 11th grade is your biggest year for any sport. And that's just because you're kind of rolling into your own, things like that. And just a lot of times those freshmen, sophomores, a lot of them are on JV or varsity, or freshmen, and they're just not coming to term on, a lot of late bloomers. And those are the ones that fill out the rosters at every level. So 11th grade, you can see, is definitely where your momentum and your recruiting process gets to where it needs to be. So be patient, keep working, keep grinding. It's going to happen. So I asked a simple question: do you believe majority of players coming in knows what it would take to succeed? 93% said no. And I think that's self-explanatory. What should be most important for recruits when deciding on what school to choose? So I picked about 5 things that usually you hear about and that people talk about in regards to what they look into. These aren't the only 5 things. Of course, there are other ones we see here. Number 1, we do see here is coaching style and connection, which is huge, 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 because you want to be able to build a connection with your coach, feel like you want to play for him, feel like he has your genuine and best interest for you. His style of play, if he plays fast, presses all the time, you want to make sure that fits you. If it's a slow pace game, like the difference between like a Villanova and Iowa, a Michigan State and Virginia, and just a lot of different programs have their own thing. Texas Shaka Smart system is a lot different than when you look at Tony Bennett. So it's just, you got to look at the style of play and the connection and the style of the coach. Style is also how he treats his players, how he talks to his players, how he holds them accountable. And the second thing you look at is, it can either be the academics and majors, or it can be the team needs. Academics and majors, I think it was actually higher than I thought it was going to be, but then when you look at it, it's 370 or so, probably more now, maybe roughly around there. Division I basketball teams, men's basketball teams, okay? Each team probably has about at least, 13 to 15 players. Majority of those, to be honest, don't go into a professional level. And I'm not just talking about the NBA, I'm talking about a professional level. So I think a lot of times academics and majors need to play a huge part, because it's your backup plan, it's your plan B. It's not saying like, oh, okay, you're not good enough, you're not, but you just have to be aware of the situation and put yourself in a good place. You also see facilities is on here. That last, facilities is last. For some people it may be first, but I can agree that that's probably out of these is the 5th most important. But when you look at team needs in the current roster, I think that's huge, because if you're a 2-guard, you don't want to go somewhere that has 6 2 guards already that can do the same thing you do. If you're a big man, you don't go somewhere that already has 216 guys that play a lot that are sophomores and juniors. You have to look at the current makeup of the roster and what the team needs just so that you can try to fit in and put yourself in the best situation. Now, a team in the current roster might not fit in your favor, but you can still go in and take over, build your way up to that roster and actually start over some of those guys. So I'm not saying that it's impossible that, okay, they already have guards, don't go there, but just please be aware and see what's going on. Assess the current roster, baby. The location and campus life, that finished fourth. And I think that's a key, especially with our culture and our community. I do think it is, just because of you want to be somewhere where you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you feel like, you can be successful. And that's on and off the court. And a lot can, in your location and campus life can definitely be affected by that. And so that's why I always say, definitely look into it. Some people's campus life might be they want to go somewhere with the most parties. They might go somewhere that's around a major city. Some may prefer a more middle to nowhere place, or not too much going on. It'll help them focus better. Some people can go to a bigger school and some can't. Some can go to a Catholic university, some can't. So definitely just take a look into location and campus life for sure. So the next two questions are kind of things that I want to kind of go through some of the responses in regards to it, because I let the coaches write in what they wanted. So this one is just, what are the characteristics that lead you away from recruiting a player? And I think these are things that you probably have already heard. People will constantly tell you, but it's serious. We're not just saying it just to say it. You can even see here from what coaches say. First one, I won't recruit players that look like they don't have awareness of what's going on around them on and off the court. Also don't like recruiting players that seem to be more about socializing and or the look of being a player more than they embody the actual game. No responses to texts or not answering phone calls. Also being too cool to defend, take charges, or be a good teammate. The too cool aspect is something that I think is big in today's world. You want to look nice. You want to look sweet. You want to be too cool and not do certain things. So don't be too cool to be good. Non-competitive, selfish, no real love for basketball, a bad teammate, bad circle around him, work ethic, parent, selfishness in how they act or how they play. For me, I like this response right here. For me, I'm not so much led away from recruiting players, but led towards certain players. The players that I want to recruit are smart, team-oriented, and have a high motor. He says he's led towards certain players. Coaches know what they want in players, and they know what they don't want. Poor body language, loss of control when adversity hits, poor use of their social media outlets. Social media etiquette and the use of their social media is very big on recruits. You see now, people get dragged for old tweets that they had before they were famous, before they was even on. So always be careful what you say on social media, what you post, what you do, because that's an image and a reflection of who you are as a person and what you do. And I'm telling you, coaches look at that, and I personally have seen people get not recruited or get passed on because of what they've posted and how they use their social media. And that should go on for any of us, athlete or not handling their business off the court. Crazy parents, poor social media. So you see a lot of these questions are repeating itself. Lack of work ethic, lack of motive, lack of communication, entitlement, poor attitude, work ethic, poor grades, bad teammate, inability to be coachable. If you're not coachable, they'll send you home. Bad social media etiquette, body language, non-responsive to communication, overbearing, unrealistic parents or coaches. I think that's a big thing that honestly hurts the players. And for my parents that's watching this, please be realistic to your kid, but still push your kid, encourage your kid, but still have them have an understanding of what needs to be done, what they're doing. And if they're doing something wrong, tell them. If they have poor body language, they're talking back to the coach. If you don't see their hunger, if you don't push them, and I think, and we can even see here, parents can be a downfall for your kid. Your kid can be the most talented player and somebody that they won't. But all coaches can attest to this. Is parents can hurt a player. Character issues observed in practice. Coaches, if they really want you, they might pop into a practice. They want to see how you prepare, how serious you go through drills, how you train, how you practice. That's a big thing for coaches. I like this one. Social media. Kids do not realize what they are posting or even more so liking on Twitter. It hurts them. So even what you like on Twitter can come back and hurt you. Grades can be key. Image is everything to most coaches. Disrespect, don't take that word. Good ability to play and being skilled. Poor shots, taking plays off, not playing defense, arguing with refs. These will all lead you to no scholarship. Taking plays off and not playing defense, arguing with refs are three big flag. So you see a lot of things that deter coaches away are the same things that you probably already know and hear all the time. And you see most of them have actually said the same exact thing. So it's crazy. Next question was, please share any advice you try to give high school prospects about recruiting, improving their game, and transitioning into college. So I want to run through a few of these. I love this answer actually. Do less, but do it better. Basketball isn't overly complicated. So don't think the more fancy drills you do, the better you'll get. Make strengths great and become good enough at your weaknesses to be average. But I tell people, a lot of people hear D1 or nothing, D1 or bust. It's not that. Talk to everyone. Don't just ignore coaches because, oh, I'm too good to play for that school. Trust me. Talk to them. If you don't like the school and the coach, that's different. But don't just say no just because of the level or the conference they play in or what brand they sponsor. Watch basketball. Work really hard. Ask yourself, do you really love basketball or just the things that basketball provides? I think we all know people previously. All coaches even have someone now that we always question, and we ask the kid, do you really love basketball or do you like what it provides for you now and what it can? And it's perfectly, the answer is up to you. But even if you just love what it provides, you have to be able to have that work ethic and that attitude that even if your passion isn't there, your talent, your ethic, your work ethic, your attitude, and everything else will overshadow that, and you'll still be a great player. A lot of questions during the process, and that's key. Talk to the coaches, ask questions. It's like you go into a job interview, they ask, do you have any questions? You sit there and look stupid and say no. It looks bad on you, and it's not helping you make the best decision for yourself. Ask questions, ask questions. Ask how the coaches handle things. Ask what their style of play is. Just talk to them. See how genuine the coach is. Make sure their college choices are right fit academically and on the court. Is there a plan in place for the prospect to develop? Please have a plan in place for yourself, whether that's a summer plan for workouts, for training, for making sure your academics is up, for studying, for anything. Have a plan. Have a plan on what you're looking for in a college. Make sure you do that as well. Here we go. Stick to the basics and master the basics. Don't need to dribble through 100 cones and shoot 100 step backs. Spending time on low percentage shots, even if you get better at them, doesn't translate. Focus on being the best at the fundamentals and always be in great shape. You can be a hell of a player without being fancy. And just remember that. I love this one too here, especially being a high school coach, but play and train to win a high school state championship. Don't play for recruit. Do your research and connect with schools that you know you are interested in. Why would you send an email to 100+ coaches to see who responds and then not end up being interested in half of those schools anyway? Waste both of y'all time. Both parties' times are valuable. Pick out your favorite schools, programs, reach out to them directly and tell them why they are one of your favorites. And that will yield a much higher chance of response and quality feedback. They have to learn that it can't be about them. It goes back to selfish and self. Seek good advice, develop a plan, and work the plan. Best advice I ever heard was from a parent of a recruit. He told his son, you have to make the decision about where you go because you have to live it. And I want you to be happy, but my only wish is that you go division free. So key for athletes not to get hung up on the D1 route. Lots of great programs out there who provide scholarships at the lower level. You have to make the decision. It's your decision. A lot of people, you want to tend to look at your parents and everything like that. They can assist in the decision, but it's your decision. You're the one that has to live with it, has to go there, has to stay there, live there, work there, grind hard there, and be comfortable. So you have to put yourself in the best place where you think you can be successful. And only you can truly know that. Sometimes you may make the wrong decision. You got to leave, but it's your decision. Because at the end of the day, like this parent said, I want you to be happy, but my only wish is that you go division free. And division free is the best division. Trust me, you don't want to have student loans. Be careful who you hang out with, what you post, and always be respectful and communicative to college coaches. Be honest with coaches. If you are not interested, it saves both of y'all time. Get in front of coaches and play against better players. I like this one. He says, we are always looking for reasons to take players off our list because we already have too many players thinking they are college level material. So coaches are already looking at why they shouldn't recruit you. Don't give them reasons to why they shouldn't recruit you and take you off the list automatically. They may come to see you play, you arguing with a ref, arguing with your coach, your teammate turns it over bad body language, they may not never ever come see you or talk to you or want to recruit you ever. Little things, y'all, little things. Take your recruitment into your own hands. Put together a short highlight tape and email it to coaches with a real written personalized email to schools that you are actually interested in. Respond to text and choose a school based on fit, not the level. Truly care about winning more than yourself or your individual success. Please realize how hard this transition is going to be. Have patience. In most cases, number one, you are not an NBA player, but you can be a pro. 2, transferring is not usually the solution. 3, it's not D1 or bust. Small difference in skill level between the different levels. It's usually what you can't learn or teach that separates. 4, it's almost never the coach's fault. Do coaches have favorite players or some they relate to better? Sure. And I think we can all agree on that. We won't sacrifice a win to play favorites. You aren't playing as much as you, your parents, your crew, what everybody thinks. It's usually because of you, and it's usually because of what you're doing in practice. 5, if you want to be a pro, seek the truth. Take coaching and criticism. Kobe Bryant, RIP Mamba, was more critical of himself and interested in learning every detail than his coaches were. He worked to perfect his craft. Please remember the difference in amateurs and wannabes and pros is that amateurs practice until they get it right, but pros practice until they can't get it wrong. With recruiting, find the right fit for you. Every coach is going to go over the positives of their program, who seems the most genuine. Are the current players echoing those same sentiments? So if a coach tells you one thing, the players that's there tell you something else, it's a disconnect there. That's something to look at, something to take note of. A lot of coaches, when they're recruiting, are looking to fill specific role with their recruiting. He's saying is, ask yourself, what can you do better than someone else? Be a hell of a rebounder, shooter. Don't just be one thing. You know, they're looking to fill roles. Be able to put yourself in an opportunity where you can fit many roles. You can be able to adapt to different roles. And that will make you way more suitable in the market, we should say. Have a real passion for the game, working harder than the next man, because there's always going to be someone working harder. Try to get familiar with the college game. Visit as many schools as you can. Do not limit yourself to a particular division. Go where you are wanted. Don't be concerned with the level. Always work on your game. Never get complacent. Win it in the class. Enjoy the process and realize what a privilege it is to be recruited to play college basketball. You will not like to be recruited to be a scorer, so need to find other ways to impact the game besides scoring. That's something that's huge. If your shot is not falling, which you can turn the NBA game and see Curry, Kobe, all of them, whoever, LeBron, it's going to be nice where they shot not hitting. But what is it that you can do to still affect the game? Can you still make plays for your other team? Can you still lock down somebody, the person that you're checking? Can you rebound the ball? Can you be vocal? What can you do? You want somebody that can do other things too, because it's going to be nice your shot just ain't hit. As we can see, is plenty of responses, plenty of information here. This information was very useful for you, very detailed for you. If there's any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me if you want to chop it up, talk to me about it. If you know somebody that's a high school athlete, if you're a parent, if you're a player yourself, another coach or anything, please hope this information helps you. Any questions, reach out to me. If you need highlight tapes, hit me up too. I'll make highlight tapes. I want the highlight tape part. Please don't send the highlight tape. The highlight tape you want to send to college coaches should not be the one with all those effects and lights and music. You can do that. What I do is I usually create one player can have for their social media, and that may contain more edits, music, lights, effects, and things like that. Then I usually will send them one for college coaches that may have more detailed of how the play happen. But it basically shows can they play or not, how their IQ of the game is, what they do right, what their strengths are. If you're looking to get a highlight tape done, send me some footage. We can talk business. But like I said, I just hope that this survey and this information really helps a lot of people, because that was the goal, is just to make sure I'm giving out correct information and it's solidified. It's not just stuff that we think we know or that we're saying to you. The college coaches are saying the same exact thing that you've been hearing from parents, coaches, everybody, probably your whole career. So with that being said, DJ Reed, also tap into Power Reports podcast, great podcast. Keep grinding, keep working. I wish success to all the athletes out here, especially during this pandemic. Keep pushing, keep grinding, keep working.